Hey, everybody. We are back here with a continuation of our podcast. We told you we were going to get you the process that Tim goes through to make a headstone. So, Tim, introduce yourself, tell them where we're at, and then kind of walk them through what we're getting, our first step of this process.
I'm Tim. We're at Woolsey Monument Company. And so what we've got so far is we know the basic shape of the stone that you want.
Yep.
And then we're going to go through adding some elements so that we can get a picture of what you're going to get as a stone. So I don't know if you can actually see that on screen, but...
Can you drag it over closer? There we go.
So, your last name's McMaster.
Yep.
There you go.
Not McCaster.
Not McCaster. And we've got lots of different fonts to choose from. I know you like that Old English font.
Yeah.
We're gonna, because this is your last name, we're gonna make it pretty good size. That's gonna be probably too large.
So the good thing about this is somebody can come in and you can make several of these for them to look at, can't you?
Yes.
Ah.
Yes.
Okay.
And changes are pretty easy. Maybe we don't like all caps on that. We can change it pretty quickly and see how that looks.
Yeah.
And design-wise, it's pretty easy to center things. And
that was pretty simple.
Yeah.
1 or 2 clicks.
Yeah. You got to spell things correctly.
So you got a search on the side.
Yeah, so I got a little search bar you can't see.
You can see part of it.
So we like this wheat up here on the corner. So it's just at this point, going through our conversation and
Yep.
What do you want on your loved one's stone, and then giving you options, but you don't need a bunch of options, right?
Yeah.
So let's say we're looking for a panel. And I say, well, what kind of panel you want? There's 581 to choose from.
Oh, 581 panels?
Yeah. Different things. And obviously there's lots of them you're not going to want.
Yeah.
Heart through an arrow and stuff. But I had it narrowed down to a kind of a ribbon scroll.
Yeah.
So once you get there, then we can really narrow it down after that. I'll actually see the exact one I used, but whatever. So then... Can you see that docker on the right hand side there?
Yeah, you can. As long as I don't scratch my head in the middle of it.
It's a really interesting font.
Yeah, it is. How many times have you done this font?
None.
None.
Never. I've never engraved.
So this will be a
Old
first
English.
for you.
Yep. Yeah. It's bound to be interesting. And I like doing different things. I don't like doing the same font and the same style of stone
No.
every time.
It'd become too repetitive, wouldn't it?
Just there's no individuality in it.
No.
So let's say, I just threw these up here. I'm off-centering them on purpose.
Oh, I'm sure.
And we get all done. Don't forget your periods.
Yeah. I would be horrible at this. Just on the aspect of the making sure that I've got all the commas, the periods, right.
Right. It's sometimes a challenge.
So it's really simple to expand your like that scroll. You're just dragging it to make it bigger.
Right. It's a simple program, which is good for me.
Yeah.
But so you get through that, and now we need to line everything up. So we're just going to highlight everything, and we're going to line it up with that stone. So you can just hit a button and
Man, that's nice.
yeah.
And the good thing about this is, if I wanted something changed pretty easily, you can change it super easy.
Yes, and definitely we can. You take this picture home to your family. You're sitting around. Hey, but I don't like
Yeah.
this phrase. You can just call me and say, hey, change that. I can change it real quick, email it back to you, and you can have a new design
In minutes.
minutes. If
As long as we're not calling you at midnight.
not busy or got a customer in front of us or
Yeah.
something like that. Abe to be. I mean, I haven't engraved that on a stone yet. Abe to be.
Hey, to be.
Yeah. So
Pretty easy to adjust.
we kind of like that. We know we're going to make that ribbon go across there
Yep.
in the final design. I can't do that in this easily,
Mm-hmm.
but we know we wanted that. So then once you save that, you can export it into a different software. And this is the software I use to cut the
Oh,
panel,
Yeah.
cut the whole thing out. So that's the kind of the finished product on the computer.
so what's the next step after this?
The next step, I cut the stencil. It's a stencil rubber material
Mm-hmm.
that we use a plotter for. Just got a knife instead of a pin,
Mm-hmm.
and it cuts this 60 thousandths thick rubber
So,
stencil.
so I know you already have this one cut.
Yeah.
So do you have another one that we could run through the stencil that
Yeah.
nobody really? So
Yeah.
why don't we
start
go
that.
ahead and set up to kind of get an overview of how that stencil works, and then we'll go start cutting the stone.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. So we've just got the camera on the plotter, and Tim's gonna tell us what he's getting ready to do. We're gonna watch the plotter for just a minute or so while Tim and I talk a little bit about it, and then we're gonna roll on. Tim, kind of walk us through what the plotter's about to do.
So basically, this just going to cut lines everywhere there were lines in that design.
Okay.
And it's a sprocket fed plotter so that nothing gets out of line.
So you've engaged the plotter.
I
now.
just hit go.
Just hit go and
It's
it just
gonna-
cuts, huh?
I'm gonna make a rectangle and kind of outline the stone shape, and then it'll go in there and start cutting the design.
Cutting letters.
Yeah.
So, on average, how long does it take for the plotter to cut an entire, like this one? How does it tell you in your program how long that would take? Or?
No, I'm sure it probably does somewhere. I've never really investigated that.
Okay.
But the
Fair
one
enough.
we cut for you earlier today, that design took about an hour and a half.
Oh, goodness. So, yeah, we definitely are not going to let this thing run through.
No, and you can't. It's hard to see because it's just making a little bitty cut.
Yeah.
You know, it's not drawing a line on there.
No, and honestly, watching it here, I can't see that it seems like it's doing anything at all except for moving back and forth.
Right.
So, instead of making everybody watch the plotter run, I think everybody's got the idea. Why don't we go get ready to set up the stone and cut it?
Okay.
Sounds good. Okay, Tim. We're back in the back shop now.
Yep.
What are we getting ready to do?
So this is your stone, your father's stone.
Yep.
We're going to put the stencil we just cut out on it. So we cleaned it real good with acid, actually,
Oh, acid.
and got it real clean. And then I took a light butane torch to it and dried any moisture out of it because the glue is water-based.
Oh, okay.
So,
So,
you can't do it outside in the rain.
do these stones hold a fair amount of water? Is that why you got to use a torch?
Granite
Or
is,
was the
granite,
acid?
Granite is porous,
Okay.
so it will absorb water. Now, it's not a lot.
Yeah.
But yes, I put the acid on it and cleaned it, and then I wiped and neutralized the acid with water,
Oh.
and then I used...
A torch to
Yeah.
deeply dry it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just quickly.
Because I'd never guess you used a torch on it.
Just quickly.
Okay.
Yeah. Not a
Not a huge
not
torch.
a acetylene torch.
You didn't break out the flamethrower?
Propane torch.
Propane torch.
So here's your stencil,
Okay.
and we've made sure it fits very nicely along the edges here. I know for a fact I'm going to hang it off the bottom a little bit because your design comes pretty close to the top there, the wheat stalks do. So how did my dog hair get cleared down here?
I don't know if that's your dog or my dog.
So now there's a clear layer and a yellow layer to my stencil. We're going to take just the clear layer this time.
Okay.
Fold that over. Okay.
So you've got lines cut in it actually for alignment too?
No.
Is that correct?
No.
No?
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at this line right here.
That's the bottom border of that panel.
Oh, okay.
That's just the bottom border of the panel there. So now that I know that it's pretty straight, we're going to double check and make sure it's straight. Straight along this edge here.
Looks like it.
So then we can peel this plastic off, and we're going to save this and use it here in a little bit. We're going to do this in a minute. Hopefully it doesn't get any air bubbles in it. Now it's glued to the stone.
So you've got to go through now and
So what the next process is everywhere there was a white frosted panel. So the wheat design, this design where the name is, we've got to go and we've got to take a knife and
Yep.
cut all that out.
Okay.
Frost the stone to take the polish off there. Reapply that stencil, and then pull all the dark outline lines out and deep cut those.
Okay.
So
we need to start pulling stuff out.
don't pull nothing.
Don't pull nothing. I was scolded. Don't touch nothing. So, folks, as you can tell, he's done this a few times. Ah,
Is that okay for your deal there?
yeah.
So that just helps me see my lines. So this is the outline of that panel that we're going to cut out. And sometimes I come in here with the back of my knife just so that I can see it a little easier.
This is a time-consuming process.
It's not just an hour and you're done. I mean, some of them are.
Yeah.
Not yours. So what we're doing is we're cutting through that yellow mylar layer,
Mm-hmm.
which is there to help, this layer is there to help keep this top layer from stretching
Ah.
and deforming.
So you're cutting through this little yellow stuff on the
Right.
bottom.
That did not cut
Okay.
in that plotter. The plotter doesn't cut that.
Okay.
It just cuts the top layer.
So it cuts the precision layer, correct?
Right. I didn't know if that would bother your camera. And we saved that plastic so that we could put this on it and keep it clean.
Ah.
So that's the panel, and we'll go in and frost that and take that shine off of there. And it'll
Okay.
make it, it'll
Pop.
whiten it.
Okay.
And you'll see that.
So what is the frosting process? Or do you want to finish getting those
yeah,
out
let me
first?
finish
Okay.
these and I gotta get the design.
Interesting. Reference guide.
Roughly, yeah. Because, you know, there's a lot to this wheat that's
Yeah.
not going to get frosted, so we don't have to cut that right now. But there's also pieces, you know, if you follow down in here
Mm-hmm.
that don't get frosted, we need to make sure we don't cut out.
Mm.
I'm actually probably going to leave this piece out too
Okay.
and leave that polished because it's just a background.
Yeah. And then it looks like this comes out.
Yeah, that border.
Yeah.
We continued that border across.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, my phone's been going off nonstop too, so I understand. Everywhere that's white.
Let me turn that heater off.
Oh, okay. Oh, if it is, it's fine. So you've been doing this process for how many years?
I've been making them since 2017. So 4 years. Coming up on 5.
4 or 5 years, yeah.
And it's been an interesting process to learn.
Well, it definitely is not just a one and done simple. There's a lot more detail to it than I thought there was.
Right. We do want to make sure. So you'll see when we go to start blasting and frosting, the stencil will turn kind of brown.
Yeah.
Sometimes you lose those; they blend in. Then you forget about them, and you get down. And I think there's tassels on them. Yeah, and you cut the whole thing over. That right there, we're going to leave polished.
So, for you people that can't see it very well, and if I can pick up a piece of paper. So what he's trying to do is everything that you can see that's white, if I can get it a little bit in the light, that's what he's removing, and that's what he's talking about frosting. He's going to pull the glaze, what did you call it? Polish off the stone so it whitens up and lightens up a little bit.
Right, and that's just part of the blasting process. We're going to use the same process to cut the deep part of the carving.
Yeah.
We're just going to do it a lot longer.
So you're going to take this in just the way it is, blast it to whiten it?
Real quick. And then come back out, reapply all this, and then pull these outlines out.
So it is, you have to be pretty detail oriented to make this right.
Yes. Yes.
That's why you're like, don't touch anything.
Don't touch anything. I had an employee one time. He was eager to help. It's hard to be upset at that. But he says, "What can I do?" I said, "Well, put that stencil on that stone." Okay. So he went and he put the stencil on the stone and he pulled all the engravings out. And then, not that it's not a big issue, but it makes realigning, once you've frosted, realigning that stencil back in there very difficult because you have a lot of play.
Yeah.
I'm just going to make that easier to handle. breaking, because this is all one
Mm-hmm.
kind of one panel. We're going to break it into a few little pieces.
Make it easier to put in and pull out. And
Because you don't want to get those all mixed up, try to put them in backwards.
no.
That's supposed to be right there. As long as it doesn't stretch.
I'm going to tell you what. It's a really good thing you told me not to touch nothing.
It can be kind of satisfying peeling all the little pieces out.
No, I would have ruined that.
Nah. We just make another one.
Yeah, just the bull in the china closet type deal.
So we're going to go ahead. We're not worried about frosting these, but we're going to go ahead and peel them out so that we don't forget about them while we can see them.
Yeah. Because you still have the yellow backer behind it, right?
Right. So when we go to peel the rest of it off, we'll leave that yellow, and then we'll blast through that.
Oh, you will?
Yeah.
Okay. So literally you just pull this and you leave the yellow just like you've got on McMaster here.
Right.
And then the sandblaster will blast through that.
Right.
Ah, okay.
It's a hard surface. That Mylar is a hard plastic.
Yeah.
So the media hits that and destroys it.
Yeah.
Whereas it hits the surface of this, it's almost pure rubber.
Yeah.
And it just bounces.
Oh, okay.
So you have 30 minutes or so of blast time on any given spot before that rubber is not rubber anymore.
Okay.
And then you got to start over. But by then you don't. You're done doing what you're doing.
One down, one to go. You want this light a little closer?
Sure.
I can't do much, but I can turn a light.
It's amazing how often that light, I put it somewhere and then my hand's in the way. Then I'm working in a shadow. And then I move it and then it blinds you and you can't see what you're doing.
Yeah, don't hand that to me. That'd be the worst mistake.
Somebody'd be upset.
Yeah.
It wouldn't bother me at all.
If you've ever seen how much I shake, you would understand why we don't give Steven things like that.
Something about a dog and razor blade?
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
Yeah.
We go through a lot of razor blades. Turns out,
I
putting
would.
your knife against a piece of rock is hard on the tip of that razor blade.
Yeah, believe it or not, I'm actually shocked it didn't dull out already.
You press hard enough, it'll go through.
Yeah. So while you're doing this last little thing,
Okay.
we're going to go ahead, because we're moving to the blasting room next, right?
Yep.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and start setting up in the blasting room.
Okay.
While you finish this up.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
First.
Yeah. Hold that. I want to angle this down. How's that? Well, everybody, Tim is going into the etching booth to start on the headstone. We're going to switch cameras from this one. Go ahead and switch cameras. And he is going to frost this headstone. And we're going to go as long as our camera is going to last in that booth. We're anticipating the lens to be the lens of our camera protector to get ruined. So here we go. Okay, so
Here we are. We've frosted. We've roughened this panel. So now in order to get that stencil to stick to it, we're going to apply some glue. They call it filler. Pretty sure it's just rubber cement.
hey,
But we're gonna wipe that on there and then
it looks like Elmer's glue.
let it dry. Smell it. Smells like rubber cement.
It smells like, you know what that reminds me of? Remember when
When you
it's
used
probably
to eat glue back in the
well,
day?
yeah, eating glue. But remember when we had model cars when we were kids and we put those model cars together?
Yeah.
That's what it smells like. Is that?
Chester's glue?
Yeah.
Little piece there. Don't worry about that.
No, you're fine. Doesn't bug me. Is as aggressive as that sandblaster is.
Yeah. That's the beauty of rubber. It just bounces off.
Yeah. And really, I would think as much as it really aggressively took stuff off here,
Yeah.
you would see something off here, but you really don't.
No?
And you don't even see that much of the sand into it.
Well, I blew it off.
Yeah.
It's not sand either.
What is it?
It's a combination of aluminum oxide and zirconium oxide. It's hard. It's a lot harder than sand, and it's not as dangerous to your health as
sand or
silica sand.
Hmm.
Silica sands. It causes what they call silicosis in your lungs. The dust builds up in your lungs, and you just die.
Oh,
It's not like you go put new lugs in, maybe, or you just die.
or you just die.
They just turn hard, and your body can't process that silicon.
Yeah.
So apparently this isn't as bad. I'm not going to just stand in there and breathe it.
No. I did see. What kind of suit were you wearing?
So that hood is a Nova RPB brand Nova hood, and it's got more air going to that hood than most shop air compressors have. Got about 35 CFM of air that goes through a bunch of filtration and then a carbon filter so that it's good and clean and dry for me to breathe.
So how long does this glue have to sit before we can apply, or does it even have to?
It needs to sit for 15 minutes.
Okay.
Not very long. If you're doing 2 stones, by the time you get done with the second stone, you could probably put it on.
Okay. So typically when you set this process up, instead of doing what we're doing today, just doing one stone, would you have multiple stones?
Yeah, I try to do 2 or 3 at a time, just to help with air compressor cycling and production time.
Yeah. So do you let anyone else pull your stencils for you?
Sometimes. Not. I've had some employees in the past make a short day a long day.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I do it myself. I haven't been able to hand over that part of the business yet.
Still looking for that right employee to do that too.
Yeah.
So while we're talking about employees, you're always in search of a good employee, aren't you?
Yeah, like everybody else.
Yeah,
Like
especially
everybody
nowadays. So we're going to let this sit for 10, 15 minutes?
Yep. Okay, so glue's dry. We're going to go ahead and put our stencil material back in, and then we'll start trimming out for the deep carve. Here it is. Piece it all back together. Yeah. So we've got it all lightly stuck in there. We're going to go in, take a little hammer and smash it all down in where it used to be. middle, I can tell there's one air bubble for sure. Come in, put a couple little holes in there. Work that air bubble out. And then start the weeding process. This is where it's important that you have a picture of what you're doing. Sometimes all these lines get pretty mixed up. So what you're seeing, the stencil we leave behind that we put back in is going to stay just that white frosted color. And what we're pulling out, we're going to go ahead and recarve deeper, and then we will tint with a special stone dye. We will tint that black so that it stands out. High contrast.
that. Some good glue.
So satisfying when you pull off a long piece all in one piece.
Am I in the way for all of that?
Surprisingly, those will probably stay. It amazes me the little pieces that you think it's never going to make it through the blasting process that stay, and they're just fine, and then the pieces you don't even think about come flying off while you're in there, and you got to stop, cut a new piece of stencil.
Once you get it started, it's very nice how it comes off pretty simple.
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes it plays hardball. Sometimes the battle is just seeing what you cut. Trying to find the lines. Hmm?
Yeah. You want to do like a zoom in of anything?
I mean, you can see it pretty well. Real sharp.
Give him a chance to talk while we're doing this.
Yeah.
That looks pretty cool.
Figured I'd wait, give you a chance to talk while I do the bottom a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
Bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't talk much.
We're still recording.
Okay.
So
Yeah. You are that's pretty impressive. I'm really looking forward to seeing it completely blasted. And you got a lot of little letters yet.
Yeah. But they come out
Pretty quickly.
relatively easy.
Yeah.
Of course, I picked the one
Decided to be a bum. Oh yeah, those come out. That glue works really well too.
So the glue is on the back side of that yellow.
Mmm.
This is the Mylar layer that you're seeing.
Yeah.
That we're going to leave, and then in this round we will actually blast through that Mylar layer. We've brought it off with the panels in order to keep this rubber from stretching out and changing size.
Yeah.
We're going to leave it this time and cut right through it.
So you've been this, a lot of people would think that you're gonna go in with a chisel and chisel this stuff out, or like myself, I thought a stone would be cut by some laser machine or something like that. I would have never imagined that it's a really manual labor like this. I know you're using sandblasting, and I know there's a lot of technology involved to make it perfect in the way it looks, but you still got a lot of manual labor and a lot of fine detail that you have to do.
Yeah.
So if someone's buying a stone and getting a stone made, they probably ought to make sure the people making it are as detailed as you are.
I would say so. Now, on the other side of that, if I make this line accidentally a little bit, too big or too small, I'm probably the only one that'll know that. It'll really bother me.
Yeah.
But I'm probably the only one that'll know it. I am definitely a little picky and a little hard on myself sometimes, but I think that's a good quality. And
I think it's a good quality so people aren't buying headstones because they just feel the need to go buy a headstone,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
They're buying a headstone because it is a representation or a memory of someone, right?
Sure. It's a
Everlasting memory, and they don't want it to be shoddy.
no, and that's definitely been some of the concern that we had from some competitors.
Is that they weren't meeting the level of quality that you meet?
Yes.
It's like those little 3 dots right there. I'm going to point. So these 3 dots right here, folks, I don't know if you could see it when he was doing it, but me being right here, I was able to see him making sure that those little things are exactly, because there's nothing connecting those. They're just kind of floating there.
Right. And that's, we briefly talked about that. Some of these little things that they'll peel off when you're trying to peel the outline. You can stick them back on there, and you think that's never gonna make it through the blasting process. Where, you know, if you had a machine doing this, there's no way you'd catch it.
Yeah.
You would come back to it being done, and the damage is done. Whereas when I'm in there doing it by hand, I can watch all them little pieces that I saw while I was peeling the thing, and you know, oh, that one started to move a little bit, so I can stick my thumb on it and blast around it.
Yeah.
You got to wear the right gloves.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, this old English font, you might have to be a friend in order to get me to
Do that again. There'll be an upcharge for old English font, will there?
Yeah, and we charge extra. You can get there's a lot of fonts out there that are outlined.
Yeah.
So every letter
Has an outline.
has an outline, and it's frosted.
Oh my goodness.
So that, you know, what you saw me doing here, you do that with every letter.
Oh.
And it looks good. It does look good.
It's labor intensive.
Oh
though.
my gosh. It'll triple the amount of time it takes to cut a headstone.
Well, this looks like it's a lot easier to do with it standing up like this than laying down like we did it originally.
So I lay it down purely because it's easier to line up
The stencil.
the stencil without it trying to fall on you.
Yeah.
When I could just lay it flat, lay it on there, and then once I have it right, I can just press it on. That's about the only time I lay them flat, unless it's just a flat stone.
Yeah.
That looks like February, right?
Yeah.
Where'd that? The freaking dot didn't make it, did it? Then look at it, it's a goofy dot, isn't it?
Yeah.
I said more than once. Put that dot in there. I missed it when I typed it in that first.
Yeah,
And I apparently missed it when I put
don't-
it on that.
I don't know. Is it there?
Nope.
Nope.
See, now that's where you're just gonna have to be an artisan.
So even the most detailed person's going to miss something somewhere.
Every now and then. The point is, you need to catch it before you're done.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Catching it now isn't that big of a deal, right? We can repair and fix it. Yeah, that font, I can see why that font's not the best thing in the world for speed here, is it?
No, but it looks good, and that's what my customer wanted.
Yes. Yeah. Too bad you can't find the thing you pulled out.
I do.
Good thing you're artsy.
Huh?
Good thing you're artsy. Oh, that's pretty good. Looks just like the other one.
Just like it. Just like it. Take that one, we can put it in here and compare.
Oh, look at that. Pretty good.
Blind squirrel. I want it to come down a little bit further. Not quite as round on the bottom,
Like you said, nobody's going to notice it but you.
See what's on video now.
Yeah.
Everybody will know.
Everybody's going to know it.
Yeah, it's a... $2022, right?
Yeah.
We've done that a few times.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet you have.
Sometimes it's hard to get a different year.
Yeah.
I just
You just
naturally
automatically type it. Yeah.
2020. Oh no.
So, have you ever had to do headstones for people you deeply know?
Not deeply, no. I've never done one for a family member that's died.
Yeah.
Me and my uncle have worked on some for them, but I've done a few child stones for some friends. That's pretty hard.
Yeah.
That's pretty hard, especially having kids and you just can't.
Imagine
Yeah.
what kind of hell that is to go through.
Yeah. You spend a little more time on them, I can tell you that for sure. Not that any others are more important, but when you know the people and you know the story, and
Yeah.
you probably spend more time thinking about it.
Yeah.
I've done some for friends of the family. I definitely. I want to be the one to do it. It's hard. I never imagined being in this position.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of people that I would call friends.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people. And then somebody will die, sometimes tragically, and you think, they put something on Facebook about, they passed away. You want to say, hey, my condolences. Is there anything I can do? But then, half the people will think you're just there trying to get a sale. And no, I actually care.
Yeah.
I want to answer questions. I don't care if you buy the stone from me or not. I definitely want to be the one to help you and your family through that loss, and I think our process
Helps.
and is easy. That's 90% of the people that buy a stone from us. They come in and they sit down, and 45 minutes later they've got it designed, and they say, well, that was a lot easier than I thought it would be.
Yeah. You're going to want to kill the person that picked that design.
I got 2 people that sell for me that are really good at being compassionate and understanding and knowing what people want and making a good-looking stone to represent somebody's life.
Yeah.
I just haven't. Maybe I haven't brought them in here and showed them this process. Because they'll send me a design that looks amazing. It's like 400 words. No. I know how much the family loves it, but I'm not putting the Book of Psalms on the back of their headstone. And you know what? I do.
Yeah. You end up doing it anyway.
I end up, it looks so good. It's worth it. It's worth it.
And the families are super, super, super kind.
Oh,
And
yeah.
super understanding and super appreciative of what you're doing. Because I know we are.
Most all of them. Now we've had some shipping difficulties this past 2 years, and we've had difficulty getting stones in and getting them cut. We had a little incident with the air compressor back in June, and so all that to say we've definitely been behind,
Yeah.
and it's not, the work isn't going away. Most all of our families have been really understanding, and kind of know what we're going through.
Have you ever almost got done and then something go terrible wrong with your stencil and have to start over?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I put a stencil on one day and then had an issue not at work and had to leave, and it was a weekend and I couldn't get back to it till Monday, and it was real hot that weekend, and the heat will make this shrink a little, but just enough that it just falls off. Row. So you just start over.
Yeah.
What you gonna do?
Well, at least you weren't halfway through cutting the stone and had to leave, right?
Well, yeah, I just don't answer the phone.
Yeah. Well, you can't. There's no way there's no possible way for you to answer it.
No, sometimes I will wear earbuds or listen to music while I'm in there. But even then, even if you have it set on auto answer, I can tell you from experience, they can't hear you. They just hear from the 30 CFM of air flowing past your head, which is real nice in the summer.
Oh, I bet so. Because you can't have air conditioning in there.
Well, it's difficult. You can air condition everything around it. If the air coming out of that blaster is pretty warm.
Oh, I bet so.
Just the process of compressing air makes it hot.
Yeah.
This part didn't seem to cut as well as the rest of it. We had some stencil issues, so 3M
3M had a problem there for a while just getting stuff out.
they made probably 75% of the stencil material that the monument industry used
Yeah.
pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And then I think the government said, hey, we need you to kind of shut down making other things and make Band-Aids and masks and
Yeah.
medical things for COVID. So they didn't make stencils for like a year. It got real hard to find.
Yeah.
And I had competitors calling me wanting to know if we had stencil material that they could buy from me. Nope. I didn't. I probably would have sold it to them. But I was in the same boat they were in. And then we found another supplier, that's a smaller supplier out of Georgia. And so we started buying from them, and they kind of keep up. We could start working again. And I had quite a bit on back order with 3M through different companies, and 3M sent out a letter in February. It said, hey, by the way, if it's on back order, we deleted that. We're never going to make it again.
Yeah. Oh no.
Okay. So 75% of the production capacity for this product went away. So, okay. Well, we ordered from this company. It seems to be working. And then they had an issue with the glue. So this part that I'm peeling off right now, the glue is adhered to the rubber,
Yeah.
not this. If you touch that, it's just nice
Yeah.
and smooth.
I noticed right here wasn't sticky at all.
It's nice and smooth. Well, they had a pretty good batch that when you peeled that rubber off, the adhesive stuck to this, which you don't think is that big a deal.
Until all your,
Well, yeah, when you blast it, all your media sticks.
yeah, and it doesn't get through.
Now you have to blast through your media. And let me tell you, that's not. It's not possible.
No.
It's not. It's
So
not,
you had to go through and cut that stuff out too?
So you had to go. You had to physically cut all that mylar out.
Oh my goodness.
You want to talk about? I was thinking maybe this is a bad idea. Maybe I should go find a job again and call all the people that bought a headstone. Well, we're gonna get you a headstone, but it might be a minute. We had to order them all.
Yeah.
You know, so I called the company. I said, "Hey, there's an issue. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if there's something I'm doing." And they said, "Well, what's the batch number?" And I told them. She says, "Yeah, we'll send you some new stuff right."
Oops.
It wasn't me. Okay. And
Hey, at least they owned up to it,
They
right?
did right away. They made it right, and they next day aired me what I needed. I'm still in the process of replacing 2 stones that I went ahead and cut because the family wanted it done, and I'm just going to get it done. And it wasn't right. It doesn't look good. I don't know if the family knows, but it doesn't look good. I know it doesn't look good, so we're going to replace them. We're still waiting on the granite to do that. But
So is there some kind of recycle process for granite that you guys can't utilize in the, like, let's say you messed this stone up and you had to replace it. Is there a process or repurposing these at all?
so sometimes I'll use them for a display.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I use them for learning new processes. I'm learning how to shape carve, which is, so like this wheat will just be flat when we're done.
Yep.
Shape carving would go in and round all those little,
Oh, give it 3D dimensions?
make it 3-dimensional.
Mhm.
Learning that, there's not, there's people you can go learn that from, that they're not going to teach me because I don't work for them.
Correct.
So I got to kind of learn it on my own. So we'll do that. There's some other processes we're working on as far as making pictures in stone and stuff like that we can utilize. And we can send them back. I don't have the equipment to grind and polish that stone, but say we, spelled Gary wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fill that and recarve over it. I'm gonna throw the stone in the junk bin, and I'm gonna get another stone, and we're gonna start over. Some people would fill that with an epoxy. That they do a pretty good job of matching the stone, but it's not
The same.
It's not granite there anymore.
Yeah.
It's not going to age the same. It'll eventually yellow. I don't like doing that. So you can send that back to your supplier. This is 6 inches now. They'll grind it down probably to 5 inches and repolish it, send it back to you.
That sounds like it costs as much as a new stone.
It's more
No.
more so than just buying a replacement stone. So it's just a economics issue. I have people come and buy them from me every now and then because obviously the backside looks good.
Yeah.
And they'll use it for a table or something.
Yeah.
Leather working or
Mm-hmm.
they're pretty heavy duty. Or a little step in your garden or something.
So the only repurposing is for you to learn stuff, and
Sure.
then possibly if someone wants to use the unmarred side
Yeah.
for something.
Yeah. And that happens more than you think. I don't mess up as much as you think, so
Yeah. Well,
I do my best anyway.
as detailed as you are, and is like this font is a pain. There's a lot of little fine lines in it,
Yeah.
and you're doing just making you can tell you've done this once or twice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Couple hundred times.
yeah. So now this will go in and get blasted.
Yeah,
right?
I'm gonna re-adhere. I'm gonna go through with the hammer and pound everything down to make sure it's all good and stuck. And
Okay.
it'll go back in and we'll start
Blasting away.
We'll start deep carving.
Cool.
dries that fast.
Man. Well, Tim, you did an amazing job. There's still glue on it, like you said. That's a cleaning process that's going to happen tomorrow. In tomorrow, it'll be easier to clean the glue off on it.
Yeah, just you take it outside and it won't freeze.
Yeah, it won't freeze. So I think everybody got a good view of how you make headstones, kind of from a started project all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd want to tell everybody?
No, I mean it's your imagination is the limiting factor, and
Yeah.
you-
I will say this: tons of words gets interesting.
yeah, it definitely takes longer and it makes them more complicated, and if the words get real small, it makes them hard to read and hard to carve.
Yeah.
But
So when you talk about the carving, like this, not everybody can see this. We've got a picture of it, but this cutout right here is about a 1/4 inch deep, where down here is close to 1/8. And you were telling me that, let's use this line for example, it will only go as deep, so it'll cut like a V.
yeah,
And it'll only go as deep as this is wide.
pretty
right?
much. Yeah, pretty much. You can make it go deeper, but you're just gonna make the line distorted. You can obviously cut it shallower, but
Yeah.
as a rule, as it makes that V and comes to a point, it's gonna do that about as deep as it is wide.
Cool. Well, Tim, thank you very much for letting us come check it out. Check us out on Podbean and YouTube. And I believe Tim's going to take some of this and put it out on his website as well. So why don't you give me your website?
It's WoolseyMonumentCo.com. WoolseyMonumentCo.com.
There you go. And make sure you check us out. This will be in the middle of a podcast, so I'm not going to ramble on too much. Thanks, guys. Bye.